some of the criticisms I hear about RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard is a lot of conservatives I talk to, they keep pointing out, these are Democrats.
Right.
You know, they're not like your true conservative, establishment-minded Republican. And so there are a lot of conservatives who are wary of them.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle, and I'm joined today by national political correspondent Mabinty Quarshie. Mabinty, the first Trump nominee has fallen, the first of these dominoes. Matt Gaetz has withdrawn from consideration to be Attorney General. What impact does that have on everything else?
Yeah, I just want to say that I had ranked Gaetz as the shakiest nominee. He, you know, the chances of him getting confirmed, I don't want to say they were slim to none, they were lower than everybody else. When you looked at betting markets, all the other nominees would be in the 70s, the 90%, and Gaetz would be at the 30%. So it's not shocking that he dropped out. It was a very contentious battle that he was going to have to face. What that means, though, I know it seems that like, oh, Trump faced the political blowback, but actually, you know, when I've talked to some few MAGA allies of Trump, they're basically saying, no, this avoids a battle on Capitol Hill with Gaetz out of the way. Senators don't have to, you know, hold their nose and vote for someone they don't like.
And nobody even really had to come out publicly and say they absolutely wouldn't vote for him.
Yeah, so it saved, you know, Senator John Thune, the incoming Senate Majority Leader, it saved him a very awkward position, because that's not how you want to start a new term, by, you know, angering Trump. It saves him having to force, you know, moderate senators from having to, you know, not vote for Gaetz. So they've, you know, on the one hand, he lost his AG nominee, but he avoids a really public, brutal fight that maybe is not the way you start a second term.
So there are some other nominees who there might be some Republicans wavering about. You know, there's Tulsi Gabbard, there's Robert F. Kennedy Jr., there have been some news about Pete Hegseth. Does Gaetz help or hurt any of them in terms of what maybe Senate Republicans are willing to do at this point?
I'm glad you asked, because I'm literally writing that story. Basically, I don't want to say it helps or hurts, but it puts more spotlight on Pete Hegseth, especially because, you know, we've just seen a police report come out that involves some pretty graphic details. He obviously denies any wrongdoing. He's never been charged. I want to make that very clear.
Sure.
But also now that, you know, Gaetz has withdrawn, they're now, you know, we're wondering, are senators going to voice any concern about Pete Hegseth? You know, are they going to ask for more information? We're not sure yet. So again, he had a better position than Gaetz, so I don't think his nomination is in dire jeopardy, but I do expect that some senators will want more details just to make sure it gets cleared up and there's no regret should he get confirmed.
Right, there doesn't seem to be the same level of personal animosity that existed with Gaetz, really with any of the other nominees. I mean, Gaetz had gotten into some feuds with fellow Republicans.
Yeah, he was a special case. You know, when I talked to folks, they kept telling me that actually, yes, the sexual allegations against him were bad, but they don't actually think that's what was going to tank his nomination. It's the fact that no one liked him, and you know, senators just didn't want to give him that win.
Yeah, no, I mean, many years ago, when George H.W. Bush nominated John Tower to be Secretary of Defense, what ostensibly sank him was the rumors about his drinking, but his Senate colleagues didn't like him very much, and so that sort of hurt him. This does bring to mind, though, that, you know, while Republicans have a decent-sized Senate majority, they don't really have such a big Senate majority that if no Democrats vote for these nominees, that you can afford to lose very many Republican senators.
Yeah, so every nominee can only afford to lose 4, and then having Vice President-elect J.D. Vance be the tie-breaking vote. And so the thing about only having 4 votes to spare, 2 of them, Collins and Murkowski, they're the moderate, you know, senators who are willing and have bucked Trump, you know, in the past. So, you know, for the most controversial nominees, you have to wonder about Collins and Murkowski. Mitch McConnell, you know, he stepped down. He's a free bird, you know. Someone told me they think he's going to be the John McCain of the Senate now that he's not majority leader, or I should say minority leader. And they don't think he's going to run for re-election. So he can basically do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, and it seems to be he stepped down from leadership in part to be able to do whatever he wanted to do.
Right. So that's 3 senators right there. And then, of course, you know, every senator, I shouldn't say every senator, but a lot of senators want attention. And if you want attention, going against the grain when there's only 4 votes is the perfect way to do it. So, you know, any one senator who might feel miffed or might want something in return could make a stand against any nominee. So, again, a lot of these nominees are already on Capitol Hill. You know, Elise Stefanik, she was on the Hill. Pete Hegseth was on the Hill. RFK Jr., he's setting up meetings and will likely be on the Hill in the coming weeks. So they're trying to smooth because you don't want any nasty surprises when you're expecting confirmation.
And yet I have a feeling we'll get a couple surprises.
I should say, also, some of the criticisms I hear about RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard is a lot of conservatives I talk to, they keep pointing out, these are Democrats.
Right.
You know, they're not like your true conservative, establishment-minded Republican. And so there are a lot of conservatives who are wary of them, you know, especially RFK Jr. because not only he comes from one of the like most famous Democratic
He's a Kennedy.
Yeah, he's a Kennedy.
And he's not John Kennedy from Louisiana. He's a Kennedy.
Yeah, and then, you know, some of his past stances, especially on abortion, you know, a lot of conservatives are a little weary about that, and they want assurance from him that he will not enact some of those pro-abortion stances that he had in the past.
Right, and they want, or at least maybe from the administration, that pro-life people will still set policy on those issues.
Yeah, and then Tulsi Gabbard, I don't even know what to say about her, but she, you know, there are a lot of people who are weary of her past visit, you know, with the Syrian president. There's going to be a lot of questions about her relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin, and so I think we're going to see a lot more questions about Tulsi Gabbard, and she's going to need to work hard to convince Republicans on the Hill that she is in fact the right person to be Director of National Intelligence.
Definitely going to be some interesting hearings ahead. Thank you, Mabinty. You can read Mabinty and the rest of our politics team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.